Video games are often a way to transport to another world, and the exploration element is often central. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 exploration games you need to play in 2018. Number 10 is Shadow of the Colossus, a game that obviously has existed longer than just 2018, but still, the remake that came out this year is just breathtaking and the best reason to play this game, especially if you haven't. If you have, it's still worthwhile, it's beautiful, it's definitely the best version of this release, but the kind of exploration that we have in a game like Shadow of the Colossus, an empty, lonely, yet beautiful, emotional, aesthetic, and mood-fueled experience. It's a game that takes the fact that it isn't really a populated world and uses the environment and variety and sort of imagined history to tell a story that's really worth immersing yourself in. And did I mention that the 2018 version looks absolutely breathtaking? Seriously, play Shadow of the Colossus. Number 9 is Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. Now, Pillars of Eternity are kind of the more PC RPG, CRPG type exploration. You have to check out things for finding items and things like that, but it's not just that. There's also this element of sea exploration that involves a lot of management from your ship to your crew, but it obviously also brings in all the Pillars of Eternity stuff, which again is very similar to a lot of RPGs from the 1990s on the PC. Not that it's just a nostalgia trip or anything. Pillars of Eternity 2 is a game that just flat out is one of the better examples of its genre, and it takes up some space in more than one genre than the original did. Number 8 is Far Cry 5, and yes, Far Cry is primarily an action game, but the exploration elements come through in the fact that they've actually perhaps done one of the more realized versions of America. It's a really uninhabited area in Montana, but you find gas stations and general stores and homes that actually feel like real live homes. They leaned into the idea of encouraging you to explore more because you don't get objectives unless you do that. The cool thing about that is by pushing you to explore, you get to see so much beautiful stuff because this is easily one of Ubisoft's masterpieces as far as visuals go. It's a step above and beyond for sure. Number 7 is Ni No Kuni 2. Now, this is a game that modernized itself really well. It retains all of the best elements of a JRPG. The goofy story, the pretty visuals, the aesthetics, the music, but it includes a lot more loot-oriented mechanics, and you see some of the Western influence, but it's in particular in the exploration elements of the game. This game gives you so much area to cover, and it rewards you in a good way for doing so. You end up finding more things to do, finding more resources, finding more items, being able to build your kingdom much easier, and honestly, it's a more satisfying experience if you just slow down and smell the roses, so to speak. It's a beautiful game that is just well above and beyond, visually speaking, so many other of its competitors, maintaining the Studio Ghibli look without actually even having Studio Ghibli on board in a large capacity anymore. Plus, it's fun as hell. No matter how you're playing it too, you can end up playing it as an exploration game or go straight in on the RPG and action elements. It's one of those games that gives you a lot to do and says, here, enjoy. Number 6 is The Crew 2, which is literally a miniaturized version of the United States. Yes, you drive around it, and of course, it's not the most accurate thing in the world on account it is a miniaturized version of the United States, not the full United States. But would you really want the entire United States, all of the boring nothing in many of its areas, as a game? I don't think I would. No matter how exciting the mechanics are, and the Crew 2's mechanics are quite good, but you can street race in Detroit, LA, New York, drag race down south, you can off-road in the desert. There's so much to do and so much to see in this game. And you're not even limited just to cars, you can bring in boats and planes, and truthfully, it's a weird but interesting look at all of these incredibly beautiful, real things. And you don't get all of that in one game ever, really. Number 5 is No Man's Sky Next, which, yes, is not a 2018 game. There's so much more in No Man's Sky Next, though. There are a lot of people that are really trying hard to lay into the fact that it's still fundamentally the same game, but when you make the same game better, I don't really understand the issue. At its heart, No Man's Sky has always been an exploration game. However, due to some of the promises and things that were said about it, it really didn't live up to what they were saying. Now it does. It's a great, really just a cool game. It's the thing that I really wanted to be able to say when it came out. I don't think any of us really wanted that explosion of controversy. We wanted a good game, and that was why it happened. No Man's Sky Next now generates a lot of different types of worlds in a better way than it used to, and has a new questing structure, multiplayer, and third person, which I know doesn't really have anything to do with the exploration elements. But this game is it's infinitely better than it was before. Even before the next update. It had already become quite a better game over time, but Next just puts this is like a great space exploration game. And if it's looked at in that way, if you don't expect something that is not supposed to be at this point, it's a hell of a lot of fun, and you're going to see stuff that is just jaw-dropping. Number 4 is SpiderMan. The brand new SpiderMan game is absolutely just gorgeous. From Jake's impressions that we've seen of it so far, and what he's had to say about it, I am just beyond excited. And some of the old Spider-Man games, even when they weren't great games, had the exploration element down, but technical limitations prevented us from ever getting like a big, awesome New York City for him to web sling around, and guess what? We have got that now. It's not completely to scale, but it is a big city with a lot of famous landmarks as well as traffic and pedestrians. It looks beyond cool. Plus the combat is just gonna keep me busy forever, I think. Number 3 is Fallout 76, an online sort of version of Fallout that actually does revolve heavily around exploration. From the looks of it, it seems a lot like the real point of the game will be getting society going after the first vault is opened in West Virginia, and that means a lot of, hey, what's going on around us? Now, the thing is, this could be great, and it could also be not great. It may just be an empty Fallout game without a lot of world to absorb, leaning on the idea that you and your friends will enjoy it because it's Fallout and you're doing it together. I've seen the skepticism, and I was very skeptical at first announcement, but the more I've thought about it, the more I've thought this could actually go down well. Will it? We don't know, but it looks good. It looks like a very unique environment for Fallout that we certainly haven't explored anything like this in Fallout at any point before, so at least it's an attempt at something new in a way that doesn't seem to be conforming to the industry trends as badly as I thought it might have when they first said what it was, but we will see. Number 2, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. If this is anything like Assassin's Creed Origins, that means it's going to be huge. It's going to have a good amount of variety, and that doesn't just mean landscape. When you explore an Assassin's Creed Origins, you actually end up taking in a lot of culture and history, which is really interesting considering Assassin's Creed hasn't always been great about that, despite being a historical fiction game. Sure, it's always sort of traipsed through the stories, but Assassin's Creed Origins, I think, gives you the ability to absorb more. And if Odyssey is like that, and all signs point to that being the goal, I think Odyssey's gonna be freaking great. Origins was great. I mean, Assassin's Creed has been a lot better since they decided they aren't going to be just blowing them out their ass every 5 seconds. And finally, number 1 is Red Dead Redemption 2, which is the granddaddy of all the exploration games because it's the granddaddy of most types of games for the year. The exploration elements that are going to be present in Red Dead Redemption, of course, are probably going to be some of the main reasons why we want to stay in the world, though. The things we find in Rockstar games, the little details, the locations, the personality that the environment brings is always the reason why these games are so interesting long after their release. They are a developer that is incredible at developing lived-in places. And knowing how that's played out in previous Red Dead games, as well as knowing how much they've upped the ante with GTA over the years, Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably going to be really intense and huge and dense and feel like something you need to see every inch of. I am really excited for Red Dead Redemption 2 and really most of these games. Which ones are you most interested in playing this year? Leave us a comment, let us know, and if you like this video, please click like. If you're not subscribed, now would of course be a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is of course a subscription. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at FalconTheHero. We'll see you next time right here on GameRanx.